The Titans free agency frenzy has started, and man, did they bulk up on both sides of the ball. Let's talk about it next. Sammy, start us up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Talking Titans.
Do the Titans have a miracle left in them in what has been a magical season to this point? Going to be fielded by Lorenzo Neal at the 25. Pitches it back to Wycheck. He throws it across the field to Dyson.
He's got something.
30,
He's
40,
got something.
50.
He's got it.
40,
He's got it.
20, 10.
He's got it.
End zone. Touchdown Titans. There are no flags on the field. It's a miracle. Tennessee has pulled a miracle.
The sickest Tennessee Titans podcast. Sick! It's going to be sick.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sick Podcast, Talking Titans. Tonight I am joined by my counterpart, Vin. What's going on, buddy? How you been?
It's going, man. Could be better, could be worse. Just gaining a little bit more weight. The less I take care of myself, the more I take care of my baby, But it's all right. Got back in the gym as of yesterday. I was telling AC before you got on, I was approaching, the stats of the Titans reaching out to me. Had I gained more weight to at least step in the center position if our boy doesn't get back from the Achilles. But, we got back in the gym yesterday. We're going to get right. And hopefully the Titans are on their way to getting right as well. So let's dive into this free agency pool, huh?
I love how you just segued right into that, going back into the offensive line, and that's right. Exactly what the hell the Titans did. They've been busy the last couple of days since I think Tuesday was the first Tuesday was the first indication that we were going to sign a free agent, and that first free agent was Dan Moore, 4 years, $82 million. I mean, it's not the sexy offensive lineman, but he does have really good numbers. He's played 66 to 68 games. That's 97% of the games he's played. Last year, he had a 92. Sorry, I'm looking at my computer over here because I have the stats. He has 92.5% pass win last year. He did give up 13 sacks, 76% run block, and he had 41 pressures. So, I mean, jumping off the page with those stats, with a 92% pass block, that's great. But the others are a little concerning now because we had, a lot of swinging left doors at the left tackle position. But with Bill Callahan as the offensive line coach, he has to have seen something in there. And then, as he's progressed in Pittsburgh the last couple of years, and they're saying that last year was kind of his breakout year, so to say, even though he had 41 pressures and 13 sacks allowed. At this point, you're moving J.C. Latham over to the right-hand side, who's a pillar at 6'6", 342. And then now you have a mountain of a man in Dan Moore, who's, I think, 6'4" at 315. So what do you think about that signing?
Listen, it's somebody that I don't think anybody other than Pittsburgh Steelers fans heard of, or maybe if you're a Browns fan, Bengals fan, a Ravens fan, you might have heard of him as well because you play him 2 times a year. But big unknown to me. You see his stats. Some things are good, some things are bad. I don't like the excuse that people are using. Well, he went against Myles Garrett and Trey Hendrickson a total of 4 times a year. Well, you're going to play really good players in this league. And, of course, if you're making it deep into the postseason, everyone you're going to be playing is going to have good players, probably on the defensive line as well. So, but like you alluded to, you have to think Callahan, the father, not the son, our offensive line coach, saw something in him to give him a chance that he's going to get and the money that he's going to make. You would hope that this kid is not a, Dillard 2.0, you know what I mean, where we pay him for nothing and he's gone in a year or two. So we'll see. You got to hope for the best. I'm glad that Latham is playing the position he played in college where he flourished at. So the right side seems like it's secure because we made another move. We'll get into that in a little bit. But that left side, is the quarterback's blind side, and we'll get into that as well in a little bit. But you got to think we might be going quarterback after the moves we made. And if we are, you want his blind side protected. So hopefully Callahan turns Dan Moore into, hey, listen, you want him to turn him into a perennial Pro Bowler or an All-Pro. But he can't, be letting up the amount of sacks that he let up last year, this year, especially if he's protecting our brand new franchise quarterback, which seems like to be the case. So I'm up in the air about Dan Moore. I talked to a few Steelers fans and, of course, said he sucked. But, you want to think Brian Callahan is more in the know than your average Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But they did draft 2 tackles in the back-to-back years, so, obviously they weren't too high on this kid anymore. So we'll see. I don't know. It's a coin flip to me, to be honest with you. I can't say for certainty that he's going to be good.
Yeah, so I mean, you see that he has potential. Like I said, 92.5% pass block grade. So I mean, that screams, like you said, we may be drafting a quarterback, and that quarterback may be Cam Ward. So protecting that blind side in the pocket could be huge. But let's not forget now, you have Peter Skoronski at left guard. I mean, I don't know what he was working with Dan Moore over in Pittsburgh at left guard. I mean, I think it was Isaac Sumoli or whatever. I don't know how that kid plays or whatever. But to me, Peter Skoronski is a great guard. He's had his ups and downs his rookie year, but now he's looking like he's settling in the NFL. So if you pair those two together, that could be a nice, solid left side of the line. And we didn't even get to the right-hand side of the line yet. So, I mean, pairing those two together, could be a really good thing, especially with the recipe with Bill Callahan to help him out now in Tennessee. Moving along, the next signing that we had, nothing like that blew you off the chart, but Cody Barton, 3 years, $21 million, another linebacker who still, in my opinion, like I said, we'll keep getting into it. It's a depth piece maybe or a starter. We don't know. But obviously losing Kenneth Murray in a trade, linebacker is still a need and a massive hole, for this franchise.
Very need.
Bringing Cody Barton in for 3 years, $21 million. The kid's played 95 of 100 games. That's 95%. He totaled 106 tackles last year, 2 interceptions, 87 tackling grade, and six missed tackles last year. But the downfall with this kid, when he was targeted, his passer rating, which was not great, it was 102.7. And in his last 3 seasons, he's topped 100 tackles in each of those 3 seasons, with 3.5 sacks in his career. So obviously could be a special teams guy, could be a plug and play starting linebacker for us. Obviously, to me, it's not a great signing. I would have loved Dre Greenlaw, in my opinion. I brought it up last podcast with Sal. That was just a target for me. I mean, that's just a true hard-nosed, blue-collar linebacker. But, what do you think about this signing?
I don't know much about him. I know he's been on a few different teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a veteran piece in a room that needs veteran presence right now, because you're going to hope that the kid that we took from, I believe, North Carolina in the 3rd round.
Cedric Gray.
Oh, yeah. He dealt with injury issues his rookie year. Hopefully he gets healthy. But I think you're looking for a cheap veteran linebacker who has played a lot of football, has stayed healthy, is going to be reliable, probably isn't going to jump off the page in any sort of category, but he will, he'll play. And that's what we need. And that's been a common theme in everyone we've signed so far. So again, not to try to sound like a novice, but I don't know much about him. Not a household name, but he's a veteran guy on a cheap deal, and hopefully he could at least show the young kids some ropes and play, a lot of football for us and stay on the field. So
yeah, I mean, like you said, head scratcher. I mean, you got Barton now, you got Cedric Gray, you got James Williams, you have Otis Reese now as your linebackers. For
your
this
boy
team.
Gibbons is gone.
Gibbons is gone. Kenneth Murray got shipped out. We picked up an extra 6, though. We'll get into that too later, which I liked. Kenneth Murray wasn't a great big linebacker for me. It was just like a project, in my opinion. So I mean, I wasn't too worried about that. I mean, the kid has potential, so we'll see what happens. But still, absolute glaring need, just like safety on this team. So I don't know if they're going to go after another vet or they're going to draft one early. We don't know. But next, another glaring need, like I said, Xavier Woods, safety. I thought we were going to get Javon Holland. I thought we were going to get Justin Reed. Those are household names versus, Xavier Woods. But 2 years, $10 million. Another guy played 123 games out of 132. That's 93% games played. 100% of the snaps for Carolina last year. He played career high 119 tackles and 3 interceptions. So obviously the kid is a bowler, and you're going to start to see a trend here, Vin. This is why I'm reading some of these things to you, because now these guys are reliable now. You got guys that are playing games all the time, 93% of the games, 95% of the games, 97% of the so there's a trend here with these free agents out there bringing there reliable guys, dependable guys, a lot of guys being on the field, on the snaps. So what do you think about this pairing possibly with a hooker if we don't go safety in Malik Starks in the 2nd round?
I think regardless, we should probably draft a safety if it's in the second round or later on in the draft, just to have some depth. But like you said, it's another guy that's all reliable there, reasonable deal, played a lot of football, solid football player. Like you said, nothing's really jumping off the page of you. I would have loved Holland as well, especially at the number that he ended up getting. 15 million was kind of on the lower end for him. Is as outrageous as that sounds?
Yeah,
$15 million a year is on the lower end for him. Who knows if they offered him anything, and if they did offer him anything, you don't know what it was. But he went to the Giants at a reasonable deal, so I'm sure everyone up in your neck of the woods is probably happy about that. But I mean, listen, maybe we don't want to make any huge splash play, even though we did pay a tackle that's pretty unknown, a lot of money. But maybe they had a number in their head and they weren't going to go over, and they want reliability, and that's what he's been these last few years. So like I said, we'll see. Not expecting any of these guys to be household names for you unless you're a Titans fan, but you're at least happy that these players are veterans that should stay on the field, and they're all at a relatively cheap deal. Like I said, there seems to be, like you said, a pattern and a bit of a vision, I think, with this new Titans front office. So, like I said, we'll see. And, hopefully he's, makes a believer out of us.
Yeah. I want to touch on this one before we go on to the free agents. I mean, we're going to talk about a free agent here, but one of the more head scratching moves I think the Titans made, and I know you were pretty vocal about this on Twitter too, and that's just letting Ryan Stonehouse go. I mean, you got a punter that punted for record highs, and you could have got him.
He was so good that we
reasonable. Yeah, you let him go.
Brett Kern was one of the best punters maybe in the last decade in the NFL, top 3 for sure. However long he was in the league, he was top 3 at his position. Ryan Stonehouse was so good that we let go of Brett Kern. Although he was a little older, he still could have played. We let Brett Kern go for Ryan Stonehouse. The kid amazed in his rookie year, was an all-pro, a Pro Bowler, set records, dealt with the injury, came back. He has a hell of a leg. It seems that his issue is spotting punts at times, but still very young, and you would think moldable and has raw talent, and maybe you wanted to give a little extra time to come off of the injury. That being said, it is a punter. Not to say punters' lives don't matter. They absolutely matter. But at the end of the day, he can't get too upset about it. He was a fan favorite. Every game I've been to, as a running joke, people would shout, "Oh, there's our MVP coming back on the field again. Yeah. Here's our MVP again." So, listen, he's gone. You wish him nothing but the best. I do like Johnny Hekker.
Yep.
He is just as good, if not better, than Ryan Stonehouse. Is a proven veteran. I'm sure he's been to some Pro Bowls in his day, yep. Some All-Pros he might have won as well. But established guy, been in the league a while. Like we said, starting to see a trend. So Stonehouse is gone. We're thankful for him. Wish him nothing but the best. But if you're going to replace somebody and make me forget about Stonehouse, it's someone like Johnny Hekker, who for punters is a household name. Most people have heard the name Johnny Hekker before. So listen,
I mean,
we don't have to see much of Johnny Hekker.
Yes,
but if we're going to see him, I'm glad we got him.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, again, you bring in a veteran coach in John Fossil, and he sees, he watched the tape, and if he had problems, spotting punts, and if you got a booming leg, you're going to punt the ball 50 yards. But, field position's key. We all loved Ryan Stonehouse. It was a little head scratcher, but now let the coaches coach. You bring in, a former all-pro punter and Johnny Hekker. He's played under John Fossil already. So I like the move, and let's see how it makes out for us. But, that it was a head scratcher, but we'll see. Moving on, another head scratcher, in my opinion, and my friends busted me. As soon as free agency started, they go, "Jarett, I don't even want to hear you, jump on an emergency press conference if you sign Van Jefferson." And here we are 4 days later. The Titans signed Van Jefferson on a 1-year, $2.5 million contract. Last year, this is just just a depth piece, in my opinion. I would have loved to sign NWI. I was the biggest fan of NWI towards the end of his career. hated on him a lot in the beginning. But Van Jefferson coming off a 24 catch, 276 yards, and 2 touchdowns last season. That's not NWI numbers, Vin. But
that's like a half for NWI.
I mean,
that's like a half of football for NWI, and you would think the number that NWI went at, like we couldn't have given him that. I mean, he's making like $3 million a year. I actually thought he was going to fetch $5 to $6 million a year on a 2 to 3 year deal. 2 years, 10, 11 million. I thought he warranted that. He is a legit number 3 receiver who can play special teams. He's never going to give you a headache. He's never going to tell you he doesn't want to do something. He's a football player through and through.
Blocks.
Yeah, does everything. He's obviously not a number 1, but I thought for what he got in Miami, we didn't offer him that. But listen, Borgonzi is not loyal to anyone, nor does he need to be. These are not guys he brought in. That being said, I thought we could have kept him at that number. Van Jefferson, like you said, is going to be a depth piece. I don't feel any kind of way about it. Probably be gone in a year, and we got him for absolutely nothing. So, I don't know. The kid came into the league with some promise. I remember that, but has really failed to, come into his own. I think the Rams drafted him, and then, bounced around and was with Pittsburgh last year, and I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah, we will see. I mean, wide receiver is a glaring need, and the only person that we have, in my opinion, and I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. It's Calvin Ridley, and Calvin Ridley's wide receiver too, in my opinion. We need a top tier wide receiver. He's one. He's hovering. He's hovering at 1. He's hovering at 1. Okay, we still need that number 1, or we need another guy that can sit with him. I mean, you have Tyler Lockett out there. You have Cooper Kupp. You have the third pick in the second round. Who, you can jump up and get a wide receiver. If they're falling, you don't know. But that is a absolute need, especially if you're going quarterback at 1. You don't want Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders throwing to Calvin Ridley, Treylon Burks, Van Jefferson, and whoever the hell else we have over there. I mean, I just tweeted a couple minutes ago. I would love to trade Treylon Burks and Arden Key and just get them for picks at that point. I don't care if it's a 6th or a 7th round pick. I'd rather trade those assets, right, and acquire another 6. So now we'll have 3 6th round picks. And if we wanted to move up in the 4th, we can, use those picks to move up to do so. And then take those picks in the 4th and we want to move up to the 3rd, we could do that. Hey, you want 2 4ths and, next year's whatever, the picks is very, it's like a lottery during the draft. So, I mean, it's very
having more ammunition, the more ammunition.
Exactly. To move up and down.
The more moves you can make. So I mean, listen, it is an absolutely glaring need when it comes to what's left in free agency. I do not think we're going to sign Cooper Kupp because if you're looking at patterns of what we signed.
And reliable, yes, you're right.
Reliability, and as great as he was, he's missed 18 games in the last 3 years.
Yep.
He is pushing, I think he might be over 30 at this point, probably 31. So who knows how much football he has left. I'm not saying he can't play, but I think however many years he has left, he's going to want to be on a contender. I do not think he's going to come here, nor do I think he fits what we're trying to do at the moment. I see Tyler Lockett as more of someone we might go after, a classy veteran who's been in the league for a long time, who's extremely mature, who I think can still play a little bit and could be a reliable set of hands and a reliable mind for Cam if we draft him. And then, like you said, in that second round, I think we almost have to go receiver. So if you can have Ridley, a rookie who could potentially you're high on, and Tyler Lockett, there's worse trios of receivers that you could have in the NFL.
I mean, you also have Amari Cooper still out there.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Stephon Diggs because I don't think he's the kind of player we want right now. He could be a bit of a diva. I think we want more of a veteran with a head on his shoulders, and that's Tyler Lockett. It could be Amari. I think Amari Cooper can still play good football. He was pretty decent in Buffalo last year when he got traded. And if you look at his numbers the last 5 years or so, he's been very solid. So I see us having to make a move at receiver. It's pretty obvious in my opinion.
You would think.
Literally right now it's Van Jefferson, Treylon Burks, and
I wouldn't even call Treylon Burks because he hasn't done anything, and people can come at me all they want. Give him a shot. Give him a shot. How many chances are you going to give Treylon Burks?
They might cut him. You never know. So yeah, you have to make a move. In my opinion, I think Tyler Lockett is someone I would like on this team, and we'll see what they end up doing though. But I would not get your hopes up about Cooper Kupp. He's not fit what they want to do right now. So
just of what's out there right now, I just want to read this to you really quick. We have Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen, Deontay Johnson, Elijah Moore, Hardman, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Boyd, Juju, Aguilar, Tim Patrick, Tyler Johnson, Robert Woods, and Tyler Lockett. Those are the free agent wide receivers that are really left. And my God, if I couldn't choke on a pen right now, there is no difference makers in that. That's why I'm saying and pounding the table that, yes, edge is very important. But if a guy like any of these guys in the second round that's there, you got to take wide receiver to help your quarterback. I mean, you're talking about building around a quarterback. That's you built it. You built in free agency so far, and we're not even done with the list yet. We're built around the defense and offensive lines. You got to get skill positions for your quarterback.
Someone that you could, if it's Cam Ward, which we think it is going to be, someone that could develop with him, someone that he can have a camaraderie with.
Yep.
Like if they're both on the same team after 3 years, they played a lot of football together. And
you have Restrepo there from Miami, his teammate, if they do draft him. But I think that's still high, 35 for Restrepo. That's what I'm saying. And Jigbo would be the pick for me if he doesn't fall.
We'll see. You have to address it though. Who knows, dude? Maybe they have a plan at hand. Maybe they try to move back into the end of the first if they really like somebody. But it's got to be, in my opinion, if you're going Cam Ward first, we went offensive line and free agency. We do need an edge guy, but we did sign someone. We'll get to that. It's got to be a receiver in the second round, a weapon at least. We'll see. So let's
keep rolling with these free agent signings. This one, former Jag offensive lineman Blake Hentz, not a Jag, a Brown. I'm sorry. Depth piece, big body, another guy that's very reliable. He worked under
Callahan.
He worked under Callahan in Cleveland, so obviously Bill saw something as a depth piece and a rotational guy. It's better than these other guys that we've had. So, the more the merrier at that position, obviously, because that's how we build, like you always say. But the biggest one, the prized possession, offensive guard Kevin Zeitler, former Pro Bowl guard from the Lions, only allowed 10 hurries last year, second best guard in the league. Allowed 5 sacks, 87% run grade last year. That's third highest among guards in the NFL. So, I mean, clearly now that's a glaring need at right guard. You plug him right next to J.C. Latham and Cushenberry, and you got a solid line right there.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's size. My bad. No. Yeah, that's just size straight across the board from Moore at 6'5", 315, Skoronski 6'4", 313, Cushenberry is 6'4", 315, Zeitler 6'4", 332, and now you have JC, the mountain of the man, 6'6", 342, holding up the line. That's damn near almost 800 pounds of meat on that line right now, protecting hopefully a franchise quarterback in Cam Ward like we all think it's going to be.
Yeah, I love the sign. The guy's been in the league forever, was ranked very high last year at his position. Also a strong veteran mind for these young guys to be around as well. I think you're starting to notice a trend in that regard as well. You want, veteran talent that has played a lot of football in this league, that is mature, that can help the young guys that you already have on your team. And that was my favorite signing by far so far. And, that right side could be pretty nasty, with Latham back at his natural position. And, now you have Zeitler.
I think go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just think that this line is much improved. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. We've had high hopes in years past, but love the signing. I'd love to see him not only be here next year, but the year or so after that, as long as he wants to play, as long as he can perform at the level he's been performing at. Cheap 1-year deal. Would love to bring him back if he pans out. Yeah,
I mean, he's got family in Nashville. Supposedly, he may be from Nashville. I'm not sure, but I know he definitely has family there. So he loves the city, obviously. But this just dawned on me. That's why I was going to interrupt you, but I waited. It just says now you got a veteran guard, right, who's been in the league, former All-Pro. You're just going to pop J.C. Latham right next to him. So you have a veteran helping out a young guy, right? And now you have Cushenberry, who's a seasoned vet. This is his second team, second contract.
Mark, though, man, you don't know how anyone bounces back off of an.
No, of course, but I'm saying you still have that mindset in that room, right? Then you have Skoronski right next to another guy who's in his second contract now in Dan Moore. So, I mean, you got a veteran and a young guy helping each other out on the left side, and you got a veteran and a young guy helping each other on the right-hand side. So, I mean, that could be a really good recipe. Hey, I've seen this. Hey, Myles Garrett and, came at me, I know his moves. I know his technique. This is how we want to start tackling, edge rushers now. So, I mean, it's to me, I mean, just looking at that, I think that's how they played for this line. And I love the additions so far. So moving along, you want to say anything else about Zeitler, or are you good?
No, loved it. Best favorite signing yet.
All right, so the next one, we got Draymond Jones, edge from the Seahawks. He signed a massive deal, I believe, in the offseason of 2023. He recently got cut. 30.5 career sacks. He had 4 sacks last year and 45 pressures last year alone. That's tied with Jeffrey Simmons' pressures last year. So, I mean, if you just pair him up, I mean, Seattle's defensive line wasn't that great last year, but he had 45 pressures. You pair him on a line with Sebastian Joseph-Day, Sweat, and now Simmons, those pressures may turn into sacks now because, So
you hope it kind of makes you think that they're probably not going to get my boy Abdul Carter. We got an edge guy now for agency. I don't know much about him, but I watched a few clips of some Seattle insiders, speaking very highly of him. And he's another veteran guy who's played a lot of football and is pretty reliable. So it is definitely the most common theme of everyone we signed is a savvy veteran who seems to stay on the field. So hopefully the presence of Simmons and Sweat, and we still have Arden Key. So, we got to think until he's gone, he could be on our team next year as well. So we'll see how he pans out, but another reasonable deal. And I feel good about it. So,
So there's, I mean, with edge, since we're on edge right now, I'm just looking at the rest of the edge defenders that are still available in free agency. If anything rings a bell, I know one that's off the top of my head that would ring a bell for me. But just going from the list that is still available: Von Miller, Zadarius Smith, Aziz Obulajari from the Giants, who had a fantastic year with the Giants last year. Deontay Fowler Jr., Matthew Judon. Preston Smith, Brandon Graham, Carl Lawson. These are just the names. Keelan Farrell, who was a former first-round draft pick from the Raiders, didn't pan really out. Smoot, Demarius Walker. I mean, to me, just looking at this, I mean, you have Carl Lawson maybe. You also have C.J. Mosley, who's still out there. I know he's not a edge defender, but he's an inside linebacker who would be tremendous. Since we said there's a glaring need at inside linebacker, C.J. Mosley, former Jet captain, would be a great addition to this team. But if you want to bring in like a Carl Lawson on the edge, Deontay Fowler, Obajari from the Giants, I've seen him because I have to watch the Giants here, on the great TVs because of the wife.
Eagles, bro.
Yeah. And then Zadarius Smith is another veteran I would bring in to help a young guy, whether it be edge in the second or if we trade back into the third. But we definitely need a veteran presence because Arden Key is not an edge rusher. Yeah, he may pressure the quarterback. We need difference makers at the edge. Okay, that's the type of players we need. So any of those guys stand out to you that you would try to go after? That's in free agency still.
At the edge position. I don't know, man. We're going to be set with what we have, and I don't know. Nobody jumps off the page for me. It's if you want to bring in a cheap guy, I'd almost feel like I'd rather keep Arden Key at this point and have someone you're going to play football for you on the team, veteran. I don't think replacing him with someone different is going to make that big of a difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. But listen, we know it's a glaring need. I don't think they're done just because of the simple fact they just traded Kenneth Murray, which moves us up into the draft, which is a 6th. We traded Kenneth Murray in a 7th for a 6th, so we got an extra 6 now. It saves us $7.5 million, but yet again, we still have that hole at linebacker, so hopefully they address it. A couple other things. Obviously, the Titans, they added to the offensive line, the defensive line, like they've been telling us the whole offseason. You have to build in the trenches, build in the trenches, build in the trenches. Me personally, I did not want to see it, and I don't know if they're going to still do it because I said there's more glaring needs. I don't want to see another offensive lineman drafted in the second round. We need difference makers, whether it's edge or tight end or wide receiver. We need difference makers with guys that when they have the ball in their hand, they can score touchdowns. That's what we need at that point. So, I mean, to me, glaring needs still going into the draft. And second wave of really free agency is wide receivers, linebackers, tight ends, and safeties.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're good on edge. I think we addressed it. In free agency, I think, contrary to popular belief, we're going to keep Key to have some depth. Obviously we lost Landry. It is what it is. We had to move on from him, save some money, but we signed the kid from Seattle. We have Key. We have Sweat. We have Joseph Day. We have Simmons. I think we might draft somebody. I think could be a move later on. We have a couple fourth-round picks, but I don't see us adding a veteran presence. I think all the prize pieces that I would have liked to pay that were big names are gone. Obviously you knew Bosa wasn't going to come here.
Yeah, no, I didn't want him personally either.
Yeah, I mean,
he's another not a reliable guy either.
Yeah, he's a gay wrecker when he's on the field, but like I said, that's if he's on the field. But I don't hate our moves. I think we have a vision where I think we want to put a respectable team together. I don't think we're trying to win the Super Bowl next year. I think if you draft Cam Ward, you just want to know that he is the guy, and for him to get a fair shake, you need to have a reliable set of players around him that have played a lot of football, that are mature, that could be mentors. And I think if you look at everyone that we signed, that's kind of what we've done. We didn't overpay anybody except for the left tackle, and that's yet to be seen. Let's give him a chance and let Callahan be, a coach to him and see what he can mold him into. But I think we are a team that knows what it is at the moment. I think it's a front office with a vision. Let's sign a bunch of veteran players on a cheap deal, on cheap deals. We'll have a lot of money to spend in free agency next year.
Yep.
Let's hit on our picks. And guess what? You never know. Obviously, what we want to see as Titans fans next year is that Cam Ward, if we draft him, is that he's our guy. If you win 4 games, 6 games, 7 games, so be it. Let's just make sure he's our guy. Look at the Commanders last year. Nobody thought they were going to be shit. People thought they could be one of the worst teams in the league. 5, 6, 7 wins. Jaden Daniels makes them pop off. I will credit RJ for that take because that's something he said a while ago on Twitter, and he's probably happy he's a pig and shit today because it looks like he's getting his guy, and hopefully he's not just his guy soon, he's our guy, and he makes us fall in love with him the way he's made RJ fall in love with.
Listen, RJ, if you're listening, Sam, you want to clip this to RJ. I remember sitting in that bar after our live show on DraftKings, and I was watching the Miami game with RJ, and I said, RJ, the Titans have to draft this guy. I'm out on Will Levis. This is the guy. Start watching Cam Ward tape because he is a difference maker. And he told me a couple weeks ago about it. And RJ, I know Cam Ward is a difference maker. I am the big Cam Ward fan. I want him. This is our moment right now. So now we just have to keep surrounding him and with talent and build that monstrous wall in front of him to protect him, like we haven't done, to other franchise quarterbacks like Mariota and Will Levis did last year. So that's what we have to do moving forward. Vin, another thing. Titans, I wrote down the picks. So I wanted to see it now. The Titans have 5 picks in the top 150 picks this year.
Got to hit on all of them.
This draft is absolutely loaded at a lot of positions. So when they gained that 6, like I said, when they traded for Murray and they got that 6, that brought to my attention. Let me write down these picks to see what they are. You have 135, 103, 120, 141, and 167. So you have picks, literally almost kind of 20 picks within each other. Okay, so if they want to move 2 picks to move up, we have the ammunition. We have ammunition to do it. And I think, and I wholeheartedly think they're going to try to move into the 3rd round because I don't think that 2 years in a row we're not going to have a 3rd round pick. That's just this deep in a draft. I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree. If you got 5 picks in the top 150. I think all of us as fans would be completely okay with having 4 picks in the top 120. You know what I mean? If you can get it back, if you can get into that third round. So we'll see what happens with that. Either way, if you don't get into the third round, you have to hit, and you need to find some diamonds in the rough. And let's not get ahead of ourselves, but we had some players last year that are coming back this year that, if healthy, Snead, if Brownlee takes another step forward, McCreary, you know what I mean? If our line, if our line defensive line plays, to the potential we think it could. This is a weak division. You could turn it around. What do I always say, Jared?
Of course.
The difference between 6-11 and 11-6 is this much. So if this quarterback is good, if this team turns it around, you are in a weak division. There's not listen, we could have won a few extra games last year that we gave away. We could have very easily won 3 or 4 more games and won 6 or 7 games. A few plays go your way, a few plays don't. That's the difference between going 6-11, 11-6. But if Cam Ward is what people think he can be, and if our signings and draft work out well and our veterans come back and they're healthy, there's no reason why this team can't win 7, 8 games. And, who knows what can happen in this division, because guess what? The Texans aren't going to be the same team. They got star players coming off injury.
And their offensive line is very shaky right now.
Bad, and nothing scares me about the Jaguars. Nothing scares me about the Colts.
Daniel Jones, Colts?
Yeah, I'll be worried about the Jags and the Colts when, I have to be. The same way they probably feel about us. I'll be worried about the Titans when I need to be. That's how I feel. The Texans are the team to go after. I'll worry about the Jags and Colts when I have to be worried about them. Until then, this division is very weak, probably the weakest in football. And if you could turn it around and hit on a few picks, a few free agent signings, why not? Why can't you win 8, 9 games next year? Because guess what? Brian Callahan's fighting for it. He needs 7, 8, 9 wins to even get a chance to come back for a third year. So, I think this is a team that has a vision that it'd be okay with going 5-12 and picking in the top 5, but we'd also be okay with winning 7, 8 games, knowing that Cam Ward is the guy picking in the middle of the first round. And you never know. You never know. Before the Texans got C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson that one year, everyone thought they were going to be dog shit. They won the division their rookie year. So you never know what can happen in this league, but you got to hit on the signings. You got to hit on the draft picks. And everything we've done so far is low risk, high reward. And I will admit now, but I've said it before, it's not what I would like to do, first and foremost, but looking like, I said it before on the last time I was on the show, what I think they're going to do is stick and pick and take Cam Ward. Now I'm even more convinced of it. And I'm buying into it. I've watched more highlights. I don't know if I'll be doing that stupid-ass celebration that he does, because if he doesn't pan out, that's going to get old quick. But you better believe if he does pan out, we'll all be doing it. So,
oh, hell yeah.
It seems like he's going to be the pick. It seems like they're sold on it. And unless you get an offer from a team like the Giants where you're going to pick up a couple 1s, a couple 2s in the next couple, drafts, if you believe Cam Ward is a franchise guy for a decade, and unless you get a massive haul, it's not worth it, So
yeah, like you said, we can't keep turning over quarterbacks. If he doesn't pan out in a couple of years, we're just back into the draft. You have to take a shot. We all been talking about it for a long time now. We're sitting there, with the position to pick any single player that we want, and with the quarterback coming out right now with as much I don't even know how to put it. As much hype and how he takes over a locker room, how he came into Miami Hurricanes and just took over that.
Bad to say about him.
Yeah, has head on straight.
Yeah,
you see all these videos busting each other, saying I'm the best, and what's the biggest. Who's the the team the closest that's going to win the Super Bowl? The Titans, the Browns, or the Giants? And then he says, the person that drafts Cam Ward's the closest. I want that guy on my team. That confidence level, because he has it. He has it here. And Will Levis does not have it here.
No, he's a head case.
Yeah, so I mean that's always good. But my next prediction for the Titans, before you send us out, would definitely be that the Titans are going to sign, a proven veteran, whether it be Amari Cooper or one of these other guys, Tyler Lockett, because I do not see them going into the draft with Treylon Burks, Calvin Ridley, and Van Jefferson. at the helm. I think they have to add another piece before they get to the draft.
Absolutely. I'd be okay with either of them. I think Amari Cooper is going to demand a little more money than Lockett, which is why I think they ultimately end up going Lockett. And I'd be okay with it just because he's going to be a mature, reliable veteran who's going to play a lot of ball for you. You almost think Amari Cooper's almost similar like a Calvin Ridley. You know what I mean? Like late 20s, early 30s, played a lot of football, kind of similar players. You're probably going to look more for like a slot possession type receiver, and that's exactly what Lockett is.
Elijah Moore too.
He could take the top off sometimes.
Healthy.
I loved him at Ole Miss. I kind of wanted us to draft him, to be honest. So we'll see. But yeah, you have to add another receiver and add another one in the draft in the second round. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the future holds for us. But I think after the first few days of free agency, it's become more clear that Cam Ward will be our guy. It's time to buy in now. If you're a non-believer, just man up and do what Jarett just did. Accept it and hope for the best because, hey, listen, you get on a plane, you hope your pilot is, whether you like him or not, you hope he lands that plane and does a good job and you have a smooth flight. So whether you're a Cam Ward guy or you're not, if we take him, you better hope that he is well because if he's not, it's going to be long, 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 God knows how much more time we're going to have to spend in purgatory, basically hell at that point. So, yeah, with that being said, great to be on the show tonight. The three amigos still haven't been together in a long time, but we all have, different lives and different schedules, but we promise you guys, the three of us will be back together soon. With that being said, if anything pops up over the next few days, free agency signing, maybe we'll do a short little show, but as long as we can do them late and my baby girl's to bed, I'll be on here as much as I can. So it was great chopping it up with you. Anything else you want to add?
No, man. I'm just, like I said, hopefully a wide receiver signing within the next, maybe the weekend, because we need something.
Yeah, so we'll see. Time will tell. With that being said, shout out to our Canadians. Sorry for those tariffs. Sammy, send us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Talking Titans on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.